These are the top spooky things in WW3 roleplay, chosen by me for their level of spookiness. We start with something that in itself is not very spooky, people just standing around, but in the context of the game mode it's a bit creepy. In WW3 roleplay we simulate the role of being a frontline infantry force, often consisting of patrol teams and lookout guards. If we're not managing things on base, we're checking what and who's around us, and sometimes you see someone out of place. There's been dark figures stalking fire teams, spotted in various places on the horizon, maybe civilian roleplayers, enemy scouts, and often you'd be putting yourself at a pointless disadvantage to bother checking these things out. Our priority was nearly always to stick to advantaged positions and situations, and keep an eye out for enemy patrols. So when we spotted a figure and they'd often appear dark at a distance, all we could really do was share what we saw on our radios, trying to describe any clothing or uniform and what they were carrying. Other figures are seen, like glitched player models or ragdolls that aren't being controlled, which sometimes blurs the lines between figures that are in character or just harmless glitches. Sometimes things that are spotted are local wildlife, things that might be rumours or jokes, but sometimes are real. One figure that approached the base was an ape, which was quite harmless, and someone role-playing a chef offered it a banana. An altercation broke out and the ape was quickly killed and stuffed into a fridge, later discovered by an officer who wasn't too happy about it. The creature of East Swamp was another example of evidence of local wildlife, because with screenshots it was more than just a rumour, and even seen up close by a few people. It would sometimes go by the name Larry the Lizard, and would be responsible for picking off deserters. Other creatures like mountain lions, tunnel snakes, and Shrek and Donkey would apparently attack soldiers that left the base without permission. Each creature would be local to specific maps, and with several maps played there were plenty of creatures and incidents. The Korean Tunnels map was easily the spookiest thing in any game I've played. Other games had menace, loneliness, fear, but our 2 weeks spent on LR Refuge, in the context of patrolling dark tunnels, it was full of unexplained, creepy, and nerve-wracking experiences. The character you play in the game mode is one you develop over time, deciding all the backstory, the physical traits. You have experiences that lead to promotions, awards, responsibilities, and respect, depending on how you compose yourself. And these are all real elements that aren't just game mechanics, they hold value because you're directly interacting with other people who are there for the same reason. You can lose a character much easier than you can build one up. When you've developed a character, it does become something you've worked on, something you don't want to lose. And being in those dark tunnels was stressful because you're looking for opportunities for character development in a very hostile environment where it can easily backfire. Opposing patrols run into each other, they get lost, step on mines, and if flaws in an officer's leadership can become exaggerated. Fire team members go missing, people can't help themselves making noise and give their position away when they should be sneaking. Being involved in your character gives you a much deeper experience than regular shooting games, and it made those tunnels feel more creepy. There were unusual noises, screams, scraping sounds. The ground would have decomposing bodies here and there laying in the darkness. The tunnels were often pitch black mazes with fatal drops in places. You didn't have landmarks, no easy to remember routes back to base, and no way to give directions for reinforcements to reach you in those first days. I wouldn't pick any specific incident out of those 2 weeks to be the spookiest moment, but it did highlight for me how these things mirror real life versions. As games get more realistic and have more elements in them, the more games will mimic real life, and with that comes the spooky and unexplained side of things. In WW3 roleplay we've seen unexplained murders, unidentified objects, creatures, people, noises, lights. When I think of these things, I wonder about the reality of it. People do get lost in tunnels. People do see things they can't explain. Mysteries go unsolved, and I'm sure in future we'll see more mysteries in games as they become more advanced. To get into a role where it's life or death, where you care about your character, and to taste the emotion, the scary things, that's spooky.